An absolutely beautiful Saturday afternoon in October, we'll play the setting for a clutch, crucial LEC conference soccer matchup in the middle of the 2022 campaign. Good afternoon, everyone across Beaconville, wherever you are listening. We're glad to have you. Today's matchup features the 5-7-1 Keene State College Owls and your 8-3-2 UMass Boston Beacons, looking to improve on an already perfect 5-0 start to their LEC conference slate. We'll line up the stats for both teams next to you here, and as you can see, two rather different styles that we will watch on the pitch in front of us. Keene State Owls scoring 24 goals in their 13 games, just under 2 goals per contest. That lines up pretty similar to the Beacons, who are right at 2 goals per contest, having scored 26 goals in their 13 games on the season. The difference is the defense. Keene State plays a very similar style offensively and defensively. They have allowed 26 goals on the season. The Beacons have been stalwart along the back line, allowing just 13 goals. Same amount of shots for the Beacons and their opponents, 169 to 170. Keene State has ceded 214 opponent shots. A couple of players' names that you will need to know and know to watch as we get started with the action today. Our player to watch for the UMass Boston Beacons is a true freshman. He dons number 9. You know they save that number for great goal scorers, and Nick Briganka is making a name for himself. The 6'2", 215-pound freshman out of Beverly, Massachusetts, and Beverly High School comes into action today with 4 goals in his 9 games played. Now for Keene State, there is a similar offensive threat in the form of number 9, Mbambi Mbungu. He is a 5'9" senior from Kambiba, Democratic Republic of Congo. He came over and played high school soccer in Manchester, New Hampshire. Leads the LEC with 7 goals, 3 assists. He has 16 points on the season. It is the team's Mental Health Awareness Day, and we have a read out on the field right now. So we will let that come to the ears of the players. When that's finished, we'll hop back in with some more stats before we get kicked off with this conference matchup this afternoon.
Remembering these individuals. Available to aid in addressing mental health.
A very nice moment of silence shared here in the stadium for college athletes suffering with mental health on this Mental Health Awareness Day. Now, a lot of action happening around Beaconville. We'll take a quick look at the Beaks around Beaconville. Cross country with the match starting at 11 this afternoon. You have the women's soccer team in Keene, and we'll hold right here for the national anthem. Never perfect timing in the sports broadcast industry, but there's the national anthem, and before this match gets started, we'll run through the rest of around Beaconville. So women's team up in Keene, they play their games just about to get started. A huge conference tennis matchup for the women's tennis team. That match starting at 2 p.m. They take on RIC to figure out who wins the regular season conference. And finally, women's volleyball also on the road against Keene State. That match starts at 2. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for this afternoon's conference matchup between the Beacons and the Owls. We'll get started with UMass Boston. Starting 11 for the Beaks, Dennis Pachirski gets the start on the back line. He's a true freshman, just netted his first career goal. Luan Cruz, super talented freshman midfielder, wearing number 6 right next to him. Number 8, Ryan Lima, freshman out of Lynn, Massachusetts. We mentioned Nick Braganca and his knack for the goal. He gets the start up front. Alongside him, number 23, Josh D. Almeida, the junior out of Revere, Massachusetts. Christian Suvak, the defensive midfielder. He is a senior out of Winchester. A Nielsen DePina. Nobody can move the ball along the wing quite like number 12, a sophomore out of Dorchester. He gets the start on the wing. On the other wing, Elijah Elliott from Hope Trinidad and Tobago. He is in his sophomore season. Diego Gishold on the back line, and Luis Spinola joins him on the back line. He is a sophomore out of Brockton, Mass. Kasim Al-Ashkar, the all-everything goalie in his junior year out of Salem, Massachusetts, the Springfield College transfer, gets the start in net for the Beaks. Really quick, running through the starting lineup for Keene State College, it's Ali Alzawar on defense. Vance Bates, senior goal scorer, he gets the start at midfield. Damir Hamzik, a sophomore, 6'4". You can't miss him out there on the pitch. He starts on the back line out of Manchester, New Hampshire. Mbambi Mbugu, 7 goals on the season out of Kabimba, the Democratic Republic of Congo. He gets the start up front. Dennis Fleming next to him, a 5'11" senior out of Pearl River, New York. Declan Coughlin, leading team midfielder. He has 3 goals on the season to go along with 3 assists. He's a name to look out for. Gets the start in the middle. Kieran Murray, ultra-talented freshman defender. Next to him on the defensive line, number 14, Brandon Comrie out of Deerfield, New Hampshire. Elias Stoll-Ailman, true freshman, getting the start in midfield, wearing number 16. Benny Tamzarian, one of the team's captains, playing his 11th match of the season in defense. And Anthony Pasito, the senior goalkeeper out of Abington, Massachusetts, about 10 minutes down the road from here. He is a large 6'4" frame in net, and he gets the start for Keene State. Just waiting on one final go-ahead here. Referee gives his thumbs up, and we are about to get going here at UMB Soccer Stadium. An absolutely beautiful mid-October Saturday afternoon, and that lofted through ball finds Vance Bates past Dennis Pachirski. Keeps the ball on his left, looking for a cross. It gets into the box, headed out nicely by that looks to be, I believe that was that was Luan Cruz heading it out of trouble. But as D. Almeida taking it out of trouble, whistle on the back end of that play. It's going to be a foul, looks to be committed by Ryan Lima. And so, dangerous positioning for a free kick here, about 5 yards outside. Yeah, that may be generous, maybe 4 yards outside of the box right here. And it's Dennis Fleming lining up across from it. Fleming, 3 goals in his 9 games played. He is a senior. 37.5% shots on goal percentage on the season. It looks to be a 4-man wall for the Beaks as we're in the opening minute of action here. Fleming tries to go with a low liner kick and spin it around the wall. Instead, he misses wide left, so 1 shot, nothing on net, and the Beacons survive a little early burst of offense there from the Owls and look to, rather slowly, I believe, build it up the other way. Elijah Elliott had it. He pushed it ahead to Luis Spinola, putting some eyes on that through ball in the direction of Nick Braganca, and that one gets poked away, and very early into this contest, the Beacons will generate a corner kick. Spinola wastes no time, put some eyes on that through ball, let Braganca run to it, felt the pressure from the Keene State Owls defender. All they could do by that point was chip it out, and that ball was about 10 feet to the right side of the corner kick flag, which will set up Dennis Pachirski, the true freshman out of Newton, Mass. 1 goal on the season already, now playing the distributor role as he eyes the field, raises his left hand, 3-step run and lofted through towards the backside of the box. D. Almeida is back there, a couple of steps back, tried to put, I'm not sure if that was a bicycle attempt or just a shot on goal, didn't get a good foot on it, and Pasito will walk over to send it back into play. Beacons 8-3-2 on the season, a rather impressive one here. They are tied for first in the LEC with the Wolves of Western Connecticut, and that's the next game on the slate, a daunting road matchup out in front of the Beacons. WestCon 5-0. They are playing UMass Dartmouth, who is winless in LEC play. So, never want to put the results out there until they happen, but you would think that at the very least, WestCon will enter next week's matchup still undefeated. The Beacons with a tougher task here. Keene State 3-2 in the LEC on the season, riding a modest 2-game win streak. They have won 4 of their last 6, only have lost 1 of their last 5 games. So slow start to the season for Keene State in a bit of a crisper run of play, if you will, and it's really come alive for them in conference play. Once again, we mentioned 3-2. At the helm for Keene State today, Matt Schmidt. He is a Walpole, Massachusetts native, and he was an assistant at Keene State for 4 years from 2014 through 2017. Fun story for him. We'll get back to that in a second here as the Beacons ran into a little of trouble there, dribbled it into some Keene State pressure in the defensive zone. Finally, Diego Gasholt looking over to Peczerski. They'll clear it a little bit out of trouble towards the midfield line. Suvak runs on, a little 2-man game between him and Dennis. Dennis steps over and reverses field to Elijah Elliott, who I thought would be starting on the side wing. He's actually playing true deep central defender this afternoon. DePina now, head full of steam, right through the middle of the defense, runs on, right-footed shot, he scores! Tucks it inside the left post, a Nielsen DePina! How do you do in the first 3 minutes of this contest? He gets the ball in the middle of the field, runs into some open space, and puts a laser on his right foot, tucks it inside the left post, a Nielsen DePina! His 3rd goal of the season in the 4th minute, and the Beacons are up early here in a conference matchup. .351, pardon me, the 4th minute, the time of the first goal of this contest. Beacons need this game.
By number 12, a Nielsen DePina.
There's the announcement, a Nielsen DePina, his 3rd of the season from Dennis Peczerski. So
4th minute, DePina, his 3rd of the season for Peczerski.
that is a true freshman setting up a true sophomore. And this already exciting Beacons team, only featuring 2 seniors in the starting lineup, just getting contributions from all the youthful members. The team's leading goal scorer, Josh D. Almeida, he has 6 goals, and he's still a junior. So a lot of exciting players out on the field right now, and DePina probably grew up closest to this field. He's a Dorchester resident and wasted no time. That through ball from Peczerski after him and Suvak worked a 2-man game. Peczerski saw DePina about 35 yards away from the net, slid it through to him, and just where the defense was for Keene State, and Nielsen got to run about 15 more yards up, put the shot on right outside of the box, and you could see he had the angle all the way, beating Anthony Pasito to his right side in the bottom left-hand corner. So now the throw-in from Spignola as the Beacons looking to keep the pressure on here. They jump out to the early 1-0 lead, and DePina, always problematic with the ball at his feet. He can dribble past seemingly anyone. Finally gets cut out by Kieran Murray, the freshman out of Salem, Mass. And that really was the last defender Nielsen would have needed to beat to potentially get a cross in or see what else is out there. Braganca applying pressure. That one booted out of trouble by Ali Alzawar, the sophomore out of Manchester. You take a look at this Keene State roster, and a lot of players from Manchester, New Hampshire, also a lot of players from Claremont, New Hampshire. If you take those 2 towns, the 33-man roster, 14 players are from those 2 towns in New Hampshire. So a very localized roster for the Owls as we come into action today. Peczerski, a little step over, it gets cut out by Vance Bates very nicely. Bates is a player in his senior season out of Chatham, Mass., the Cape Cod native, who covers a lot of ground. Ryan Lima comes on. Takes the corners from the right side of the pitch here. He lines it up left-footed. Yeah, and Bates is a player, 2 goals. Wow, that was just out of reach of Pasito, not touched by anyone. Beautiful curve on that one by Lima. And now Peczerski will head to the other corner to boot the 3rd corner kick of the afternoon for the Beaks already. But anyway, Bates, 2 goals, 2 assists, also one of the highest defensive efficiency ratings for any player on Keene State. So that is a senior player whose leadership they've been leaning on both sides of the pitch. Peczerski puts this one right into the middle of the box. Crowd in front of the net. Braganca puts a foot on it. Ryan Lima puts a foot on it. Ultimately, it gets chased out, and now Damir Hamzic puts it ahead to Mbungu. Back they go to Comrie. Brandon Comrie nicks it ahead to Mbambi Mbungu. He spins, gets pushed off decisively by Diego Gisholt, and it'll be a throw-in resetting the offense for Keene State. There's Vance Bates. Aforementioned. Past that one was looking, I believe, towards Stoll Ailman, and Nielsen DePina was there to chip it out. Saved in by Brandon Comrie, and now they'll go all the way across the pitch in the direction of Kieran Murray. I think he thought he might have had a through ball there eyeing up Declan Coughlin. Instead, it goes right to Kasim Al-Ashkar, who has not been tested technically yet with a shot on goal, but this is the second time we see him doing some ball handling. Spignola ahead to Luan Cruz, who some nice work there to get around the defense, and now up ahead they go to Ryan Lima. Lima spinning. Lima, ball on his left foot, tries to load up and send one in towards Pasito. It gets blocked out by Stoll Ailman, and that went over the head of DePina. He couldn't find it, giving chase and ultimately tracking it down, Kieran Murray. About 9 minutes into the contest here, your Beacons leading 1-0 thanks to the Nielsen DePina goal in the 4th minute. The assist from Dennis Pacherski. That's local and local. Newton and Dorchester hooking up for the first goal of this afternoon here at the brand new UMB Soccer Stadium. As we mentioned, if you guys are new to this, not the traditional home field for the Beacons. That is the Cotter Field, James Cotter Field at BC High right behind us. That's undergoing renovations, and so here at Monin Park have this extra soccer field behind the baseball park, and it's turned into quite a lovely new home for this season for the Beaks. This is just their 4th home match of the year. The Beacons still undefeated at home, 2-0-1 on the season. Luan Cruz trying to take on about 4 Owls by himself there. Couldn't ball handle his way through trouble. And now a little triangle run, but it's cut out beautifully by Christian Suvak. Dennis Fleming working hard to win it back. Stepped through by Diego Gisholt. He wins it back again. Gisholt and Suvak both kind of trading off in the role of true center back and center defensive midfielder. Diego so stern and efficient in winning the ball there in the back end. And here's Dennis Pascherski, fresh off an assist to get this match going. Step over play there by Ryan Lima. He gets dispossessed, but he wins it back along the right sideline. Now with some room to operate. Looks ahead for DePina just over the outstretched foot of number 12. Rather ambitious ball there. DePina almost puts a foot on it. But here comes Kieran Murray back the other way. His through ball almost tipped out of trouble by Luan Cruz. Elijah Elliott circling back. Gisholt heads it out of trouble. But Coughlin is still there, the big midfielder Declan Coughlin. Ultimately, it's set back to midfield, where Damir Hamzic, largest man on the pitch, not by a close margin, 6'4" sophomore out of Manchester, New Hampshire. He cleared that one out of trouble, and a huge collision, as you see. He doesn't feel it. He stays on his feet, but now the Beacons with a 3-on-3. Braganca dribbling, step over, has the ball on his right foot. It's deflected, and it's picked up by Pasito. Some options there for Braganca. He opted to put the shot on net. The step over cleared up some space for the right-footed shot. But ultimately it's deflected, and that will be the first save, I believe, of this afternoon's contest. As we were 11 minutes in. 2 shots, both on goal for the Beacons. This one takes a weird spin off the foot of Pasito. D. Almeida loses it, trying to work his way into some open space. Suvak couldn't get to it in time. And here's Stoll Ailman dropping it back off for Kieran Murray. All the way across the pitch they go back to Brandon Comrie. We've seen him step up quite a bit from that back line to push the ball forward. Benny Tamzarian, the true sweeper, in his 3rd year as captain for this Keene State squad. Standing 6'1" out of Manchester, New Hampshire. He does have an assist next to some rather limited offensive numbers. He's the true kind of defensive linchpin in the back line for the Keene State Owls. Ali Alzawar back deep there on the right wing. Back to Tamzarian. Alzawar, Tamzarian, and Comrie holding firm. Along with Hamzic, it looks to be kind of a 4-2-2-2 a little bit right now, if you will. I can't quite get a handle on this Keene State offensive formation. But Declan Coughlin, one of the attacking mids, he gets it through. And Boonga, wow, you needed to get the shot off quick there. He got it off very quick. That's almost over the hill on the backside of the west goal here out on the peninsula. I don't think that spectator, whoever ended up with the ball, expected to come up with one, but he'll walk it back in towards the event staff. Nice throw. And the Beacons will walk it up back the other way. 13 minutes into this contest now, 32 minutes left here in the first half, and Spignola, maybe his eyes were bigger than his foot on that attempted through ball. Once again, they've really been trying to sprint Nick Braganca out on that left sideline. It's generated one opportunity up to this point. Little two-man game back near the net as Keene State configuring their next offensive attack here. A very efficient team offensively for Keene State. They have 24 goals on the season on 130 shots. Now, by contrast, the Beacons 27 goals on the season now in 171 shots. So Keene State rather efficient with finding the back of the net. Obviously, the other counter way to look at that is they don't get all that many shots on net. Haven't put one up yet there. D'Almeida has that one chip off his ankle, but it's a friendly bounce for Luan Cruz. He'll put a huge kick into that one, or pardon me, that's number 8, Ryan Lima, and he shoots it well over the net. Third shot of the afternoon for the Beacons. That's the first that is not on target. And we'll get some more live stats for you here in just a second. Beacons 1, Owls nothing in the early going here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon out on the peninsula. Beacons looking for a 6th straight win in conference play. Little 2-game winning streak the Beacons are riding right now. That's the same for Keene State. 2-game winning streak. They have won 4 of their last 6, and they have only lost 1 of their last 5. So anyway, Matt Schmidt, the head coach for Keene State, served for 4 years as an assistant. In 2017, he moves back to Massachusetts, back to Walpole, to work at Fall Mountain Regional High School, where he led the team to winning seasons all 4 years. Keene State loses their head coach in soccer. He then accepts the job as head coach, and now he is back on campus running the ship for the Owls. Keene State 5-7-1, not a bad mark for a first-year skipper, as the Owls, they have a chance to get to a 500 first season for head coach Schmidt. Dennis Pacierski with it now, fronted by Vance Bates. He looks over to Luan Cruz. Luan shaded more towards the back line to get this afternoon started. Wanted to chip that one up ahead to Luis Spignola as they had a 2-man game going. Nothing there to be had. It's out of play and back to Keene State. Kieran Murphy, the true freshman out of Salem, Mass, surveying the scene here, but we do have a player down for Keene State, and it looks to be the true freshman, Elias Stowell-Ailman. I don't think he wanted to come off the pitch, but you can see as the training staff makes their way out, slight limp in his step as he's favoring what looks to be that left leg. So we'll have our first substitution of the afternoon. Caleb Harmon, a sophomore out of Somers, Connecticut, is on for Keene State. He has 2 goals and 3 assists already on the season. So 6 points on the year for the sophomore out of Somers, Connecticut. Just 5'8". So you see him right there next to Damir Hamzic, probably the largest player on the field next to the smallest one. But an offensive spark plug, Harmon has been. 2 goals, 3 assists, not too many minutes played on the season. So let's see if they immediately try to orient an offensive rush through him. Tamzarian turns it over to Pacierski, gets it over to Christian Suvak, and now looking up on the play is Diego Gisholt. Beacons operating with a 4-man back line here to get started. Gisholt, along with Pacierski, Suvak, and Elijah Elliott. And it's Spignola and Luan Cruz playing the defensive midfielder's position to get started. Seeking through ball there, looking for Nick Braganca, cut out nicely by Benny Tamzarian. Reading his angles very nicely on that play there. Pasito spins it back up. About 16 and a half minutes into this first half here, as Mbambi Mbungu gets a step behind Gisholt. He changes direction here, ball on his left foot, chips it in towards the middle. They try to run a triangle. It gets back to him, spun in towards the middle, and cut out at the last second by Pacierski. Vance Bates was threatening. Coughlin set it up nicely, but it's cut out very well by the Beaks. I think D'Almeida thought he kept that one in. It's ruled out by the side referee, and it will still be a throw-in in dangerous territory here for Keene State. 2 shots for the Owls. None of them have found the target yet. 3 shots for the Beaks. 2 of those 3 shots have found the target. 1 of those 3 shots has found the back of the net. And if you're just tuning in, it came from a Nielsen DePina in the game's 4th minute. Beautiful play there as Dennis Paczerski won the ball around midfield, put it through to a Nielsen DePina with some room to run, just right in the center of the pitch, ran it right inside the box, and beautifully lasered a shot past the diving goaltender Pasito and inside the left post. And that's how the Beacons took a 1-0 lead here. Here's Dennis Paczerski. He's been on the front foot of this match quite a bit, taking it into Owls territory. This was the look that generated a scoring opportunity the last time, and I think Braganca, well, you see Paczerski and DePina there sharing a smile and a high five. Some creativity on the offensive look there, but Nick Braganca, he did not get the memo. He was offsides and thus didn't put an attack on the ball. Anthony Pasito, a true senior, a 4th-year senior. We mentioned he's from nearby Abington, Massachusetts, making his 8th start of the season. He is 3-4 in his prior 7 starts. 2.27 goals allowed average and just a 72% save percentage. Solid numbers in terms of the wins-losses, but you would like to see, I think you'd like to see that save percentage get up a little bit higher. Keene State doesn't allow, the way their defense is played, they don't allow all that many shots on goal anyway, so having a goalie that comes up clutch when you need him, that's really the name of the game at the end of the day, as this one chipped out by Elliott, and then it takes a skip over the sideline. And so one would think that lower save percentage number is more of a byproduct of the amount of shots that are coming in on net, as Mbungu gets a good boot into that one, misses it just a bit high and wide to the left, as both teams now with 3 shots on the afternoon. Keene State yet to find the target. Just a beautiful day unfolding out here on the peninsula. We take a look to our left, and the hill behind the west goal is filling up. Looks to be over about 55, 60 fans here taking in this game on a beautiful afternoon. They're watching their Beacons take a 1-0 lead, and I believe Nick Braganca just drew a foul. So Ali Alzawar committing the foul there, holding Braganca, and now Spignola. Let's see if he has a cross in mind here, or if the Beaks will just try to generate some play, some near-level passing. Now the Beacons are setting up in the box here, so it looks like Luis Spignola taking his time. He plans on sending this in. Let's see what Coach Beverlin and the Beaks have drawn up on this set piece here. About 20 minutes into this contest, 25 minutes left to go in this first half. Spignola, right-footed cross, spins it nicely. Braganca skies up. It's batted out of trouble by Pasito. Paczerski giving chase, trying to keep it in for the Beaks. Deep along the right sideline. Kicks it over to Lima. Back to Paczerski. He gets a clean look at a cross, and I think he might have been trying to shoot that one on net. It comes off his foot. Objectively, all wrong. I know that's not what Dennis had in mind, and it's a turnover for the Beaks. But good pressure generated from that Luis Spignola free kick, and I think we saw Dennis Paczerski putting a great slight grab to the back of his right hamstring, and he's still favoring that, so we'll need to keep our eyes on that on the back line moving forward here. One 0 UMass Boston leads. 3 shots for both teams, 2 on goal for the Beaks, none on goal yet for the Owls. And Keene State slowing it down now on the back line here, as they've kind of put the ball in some dicey situations here and have lucked out. Already 1 goal scored, but a blown opportunity there on the Braganca offsides. And how about this? What an angle on the through ball. And Mbungu gets the kick over for the cross, just out of reach of Vance Bates, and Comrie was rushing in trying to keep that play alive. Instead, he will cede it to the Beaks, and the Keene State Owls retreat. But yeah, some loose play around midfield for the Owls so far, and I think that's why they're slowing down this offensive attack here. Paczerski looking over to Suvak. Haven't called Christian's name all that much yet this afternoon. Luana Cruz. Wow, nice move getting through 2 Keene State defenders, but Bates cuts him out. And now here comes Dennis Fleming stepping over it, and Diego Gijolt says no, as he is wont to do. DePina a little too ambitious there, looking for D. Almeida, as that one scatters over the end line. But another solid, definitive defensive cutout by Diego Gijolt. Here's Nick Braganca working against Caleb Harmon. Harmon wins the one-on-one battle. and spins it back the other way in the direction of Damir Hamzic. Tamzarian sends that one over the first line of Owls players towards midfield. Stolen by the Beaks. Now here's Josh D. Almeida. Wins it, and a sliding play by Hamzic. He's 6'4", so when he slides, you can imagine the ground he can cover to win that one back in a crucial spot for Keene State. Ryan Lima, Dennis Pachirski working a two-man game right in front of us here on the right sideline. Luan Cruz as they reverse field now to Luis Spignola. Spignola taking on Coughlin, steps over it, has it on his right foot. They give him some room to operate, and that one's blocked on its way in towards net. Pasito giving chase, and he keeps that one in, saving a potential corner kick for the Beacons. They've already been awarded 4 corner kicks in this contest. But nice effort there from Anthony Pasito to cut that out of trouble. This ball scampering towards the left sideline. Gisholt decides to keep it in. Probably not the best decision there, as that one was directly at Declan Coughlin, and now finally a throw in at the spot where it would have been had Diego Gisholt let that one go out. DePina runs onto that throw in, and actually that was a pretty effective dummy as he gets it ahead to Braganca. Nick Braganca looking to spring Josh D. Almeida. It wasn't there to be had. Coughlin spinning it the other way, and once again they're trying to find Mbambe Mbungu. Took 3 men to cut that one out, but ultimately it was Elijah Elliott getting that ball out of trouble. Spignola lines it ahead again, and I don't know if the Beacons have a sub planned or what, but if nothing else, that will cause a very deep throw-in far back into the defensive zone for Keene State here. Kieran Murray going to do it. Bit of a lull now after a very intense first 10 minutes, which saw a goal scored in just the 4th minute. Ball's been staying pretty central to midfield here in the past 15 minutes of play. 25 minutes into the action here, 20 minutes left in the first half, and that's just the second foul we've seen in this game. Only one up to this point committed by Ali Alzawar of Keene State, and I'm not sure who exactly took the whistle for the Beacons there, but this game has been moving very smoothly. Coming up on the 20-minute mark right now is Hamzic with a little step over. Slings it back over to Kieran Murray. A Nielsen DePina, the goal scorer in the 4th minute, thanks to the assist from Dennis Pachirski. Benny Tamzarian with a quick look to his left instead slides it back over to Ali Alzawar. You can hear some of the Keene State bench imploring the team to drive, to push forward. Instead, timid midfield play leads to a turnover here. DePina gets it taken away, though, by Kieran Murray. And here come the Owls back the other way. Fleming runs onto it on the right wing and turns it over in the face of Diego Gisholt, and that will set up a goal kick for Kasim Al-Ashkar. Ball back into Diego Gisholt on an island a little bit here, back in his own box as he sends it towards no one in particular. Brandon Comrie runs up on it first for Keene State. Caleb Harmon, who just checked into this game as a sub, keeps it out of trouble. And once again, it's Ali Alzawar back on the right wing, just trying to start an offensive push here for Keene State. Owls averaging 1.8 goals per game, allowing 2 goals per contest. The Beacons averaging 2 goals per game and allowing just 1. No sub yet on that free kick. Instead, it's Ryan Lima running a 2-man game with Christian Suvak. Looks over the top, intended for Josh D. Almeida, and he's not going to be able to run onto it there. I liked what Ryan Lima was trying to do. Just a hair too much on that laser. It was a lofted cross, but it had some oomph on it. Luan Cruz comes crashing in on the backside there. A lot of contact with him and Dennis Fleming. Nothing more than a whistle and a reset, and once again, it's the back line for the Keene State Owls defense with the ball. Playing a 3-man game along that back line, trying to push it forward. Vance Bates wearing the captain armband today. He runs along the left sideline. Pachirski gets to him first, and he looks back towards Diego Gisholt to send it back up. The Beacons have to like the way that this game has been going. They get an early goal. They've more or less had the game on the front foot. We were in a bit of a lull for the past 15 minutes. Keene State has generated a couple of rushes, no true chances in those past 5 minutes. Dial made a nifty move there, but the ball goes out. Let's see, will we see that sub yet? Not yet. There's someone waiting on the sideline for the Beaks to come in. Can't quite tell who it is underneath that penny, but when it happens, it will happen soon. We will fill you in. And there it is. So looks like Spignola waiting for the throw, and we'll take a look to see who comes off. It's going to be Josh D. Almeida coming off. Can't quite get the angle. That might be Jaheim Perez. Those numbers on the front of the jersey really pretty small. Okay, that's Mon Albahasi in for the Beaks. So Albahasi is on. He comes off for D. Almeida, and so it looks like the Beacons might be trying to shore up the back line for the remainder of this first half. Albahasi normally shades to the defensive side of the field. It looks like he's now up on left wing on offense for the Beaks. Pachirski and Elliott. Pachirski had to retreat to keep that one in. But we'll take a look and see if Mon Albahasi provides a spark on the offensive end. The junior out of Revere, Massachusetts. He's up on the left wing right now. Spignola fakes the pass to him, goes back to Luan Cruz, chips that one in the middle. Albahasi can't quite handle it, and it'll just be a Beacons throw. Resetting the scene here. About 29 minutes into this first half, 16 minutes left to go on the clock. Beaks holding a 1-0 lead here. Fresh off of a 6-1 victory at UMass Dartmouth earlier this week. Beacons finding their stride offensively. And here's the goal scorer, Nielsen DePina, going back to work. Hard spin to his right. Puts it back to his left foot. Now he tries to cross it in, right-footed. Braganca in the middle. That one's cut out very nicely by Tamzarian on the play. And ultimately gets all the way ahead to Mbungu. Elliott wins it. Immediately away from Mbungu, and so the Beaks are still pushing the tempo here offensively. Spignola over to Mon Albahasi. Little too light of a touch there, looking for Braganca in the middle. Hamzic didn't need to do much to clear it. Luan Cruz fighting, but he's ultimately dispossessed from Caleb Harmon. Now Harmon running diagonally across the face of the field, gets it to Vance Bates before the defense can close in, and maybe Keene State can generate something out of this look. Instead, Lima blocks it away, and ultimately that's going to be a foul against Nick Braganca for that. It was incidental contact, but it was contact that was hard to miss against Benny Tamzarian, and the Owls take it back the other way. Last time I was here, the Beaks played to a scoreless tie against Eastern Nazarene College, and that game, while scoreless, was full of scoring opportunities and chances. The Beacons put, I believe, 16 shots up, 10 of them on goal. Eastern Nazarene with 12 shots, they had 10 on goal too. Somehow that game ended scoreless. We've not seen much in the shot department. 4 shots for the Beaks, 3 shots so far for the Owls. None of Keene State's shots have even been on target, and the Beaks just 2 of 4 in finding shots on goal. Looks like we will have another sub here coming in for the Beaks. And that, I believe, is number 16, Dylan Kelly, who is fresh off of a goal in his last game. He scored the 5th goal of the afternoon against UMass Dartmouth. So Dylan Kelly is on. Coming off is Nick Braganca. And now Kelly taking that spot as the true attacking forward in the middle of the offense. So Albahasi and Kelly, your 2 subs so far in the first half, and they're both offensive subs here for the Beaks.
Now the match for the Beacons, number 6.
Suvak looking ahead for Kelly, and he almost got it there as he was turned around Tamzarian, just couldn't put a foot on it and keep it controlled. So resetting the pitch here, the 11 on the field right now for the Beaks. It's Dennis Pachirski, Elijah Elliott, Diego Gisholt, Louis Spignola on the back line. You have Christian Suvak and Luan Cruz playing central defenders. Ryan Lima, Nielsen DePina, Mon Albahasi, your attacking midfielders, and Dylan Kelly is the true forward right now, the 10 on the field, and obviously Kasim Al-Ashkar in his purple kit in goal for the Beaks. A lot of contact there. No contact to warrant a foul, and now the Beacons on the front foot here. Albahasi with Cruz to his left, looks over to Lima. Lima on his left foot, spins around the top of the box, all the way over to Luan Cruz. Handles it on his chest. It ran away from him a little bit. Spinola over the head of Hamzic. Wow, if that one got to Albahasi, it was trouble for the Owls. They cut it out at the last second. That's a rough touch for Mbungu, and the only option he'll have is to boot it all the way into the Beacons bench. And so that'll be a throw in here for the Beaks on the left sideline. Looks like Keene State has, I believe that's Noah Spalding waiting to get into the contest. He is a senior midfielder out of Claremont, New Hampshire. So there might be a couple different subs ready to come in for Keene State. Beaks still on offense. Still in a threatening position here as Peczerski takes the pass across the box. Operating against Bates. Attempted to sneak that one through with his left foot. It's blocked out nicely by Harmon. And so now Suvak is going to have to lay one up, and it actually finds Dylan Kelly back deep in the corner. Kelly can't keep it in. Almost set himself up with a nice look there from deep in the corner, but it just ran away from him and across the out-of-bounds line. So 2 subs coming in for the Owls, and it looks to be 22 and 23. If I have that right, yeah. 22, we just mentioned, that's Noah Spalding, the senior out of Claremont, New Hampshire. And Colin Lewis, number 23, he normally plays defense. Let's see if that's where he shades back to play for the Owls here. So Colin Lewis, a junior out of Claremont. Noah Spalding, a senior out of Claremont. We mentioned that town in New Hampshire, a lot of the players from Keene State hail from Claremont. This one chipped into a bit of trouble. Finally, Anthony Pasito comes over and scoops it up. That ball over the head of Ali Alzawar. I think he knew that he could rest assured he had Pasito behind him there. Little scary moment there for Keene State, though, as the Beaks threatening a bit here after you see the addition of Dylan Kelly into the lineup. That has generated a couple extra chances, and he dips in, tests Damir Hamzic. He hasn't been able to get rid of it yet. Finally does, back towards Kieran Murray. Pasito kicks it out, but he kicks it right to Christian Suvak, who chips it ahead to Dylan Kelly. Kelly doesn't have much help around him there, but he gets it to Ryan Lima. Lima pushing towards a corner kick here. Brandon Comrie applying the pressure. It's going to be out off Comrie, not quite for a corner kick, but it's going to be a throw in deep along the right sideline. And so Lima hands it off to Peczerski to do the honors. Peczerski right back to Lima, right back to Peczerski, who immediately chips it in. It's headed out by Hamzic, but once again, Suvak, the first on retreat to get to the ball. Full reset here for the Beaks as it goes back to Diego Guichault. He was one of just 2 Beaks on the defensive side of midfield. Suvak anchoring the back right line, ahead to DePina. Oh, beautiful touch over to Ryan Lima, and I think he was just 1 second too late to give it back to a Nielsen. But here's Suvak. DePina, ball on his foot, wanted to chip it through to Lima, and once again it's Vance Bates cutting it out nicely, but you can't keep a good man down. DePina back on it again, wins it back again to Peczerski. Luan Cruz back to DePina. And here come the Beaks. A Nielsen DePina, fresh off his 3rd goal of the season. Back over to to Lima, was looking for Luan Cruz in the middle of the field. Finally cut out of trouble by Caleb Harmon, and he looks ahead to Mbambi Mbungu. Felt the pressure from Elliott, keeps the dribble alive, and now has it ahead to Vance Bates. Bates working on 2 Beacons. Suvak puts a foot on it, but Bates was able to step through, and now here comes Keene State with some room to operate. Coughlin, though, turns it over. Guichault wins it back. That was a costly turnover there from Declan Coughlin. Nothing in terms of an offensive attack ready for the Beaks, so they'll take their time bringing this back across the midfield line. About 9 minutes left to go here in this first half. Luan Cruz, a beautiful chip over to a Nielsen DePina. DePina, faced by Vance Bates, steps it over. Gives it to Ryan Lima, into Luan Cruz. Foot in front of it, back to Lima in the middle of the box. Lima trying to step through, no whistle. He wanted the whistle at the top of the box. They're not going to give it to him. Slow to get up, but he is back up, is Ryan Lima. Spinola looking in his direction. That's cut out by Murray in the middle of the defense. That pushes Elliott all the way to the far sideline in front of the Keene State bench, and he can't keep it in. So now Mbungu gets sprung on the throw, and Keene State could have something there, but once again, Diego Guichault comes in when needed and clears that one out of trouble. Now here's DePina. Oh, beautiful move there, causing Colin Lewis to hit the turf. And a Nielsen DePina, you could watch this man dribble that soccer ball for days, for hours. Honestly, you think that was probably his favorite game to play growing up, trying to take it from me. It's hard to do. Also, as aside from the creativity, has showed off his finishing stroke today, scoring a beautiful goal from the top of the box in the game's 4th minute. 8 minutes left to go here in this first half. First 5 minutes full of action. We hit a bit of a slog in the middle of the first half. The Beacons have been applying some pressure here to try and close out the remainder of this first half. And goodness, it will be nice to see a second goal get scored before the halftime whistle blows. Pachirski dealing with some trouble from Vance Bates there. Bates' efforts ultimately for naught, though, as the Beacons back up the field. Lima chips it ahead right to Pasito. And so all that will be a harmless play into the box. Haven't had that many more stats get generated in this contest since the opening 5 minutes. Beacons with 3 shots on goal in the first 5 minutes. They are now up to 4 in the first half. 2 of those 4 shots on goal on target. Keene State just 3 shots here in this first half. And none of them have even found the target. No saves needed for Kasim Al-Ashkar quite yet. 1 save for Anthony Pasito, and then obviously he did let that one get past him from a Nielsen DePina. Subs for both teams coming in now is can't quite see that number for the Beaks. We have number 19, Carlos Barrera, a junior out of Norwalk, Connecticut, making his way on for the Owls, along with number 8, Nicholas Heno Vasquez. For the Beaks, it's number 10, Jaheim Perez, fresh off his first career goal. The freshman out of East Boston netted it in that win earlier this week against UMass Dartmouth. He is on the pitch now for the Beaks. So Heno Vasquez on for Keene State. He's the team's second leading goal scorer. He has 3 goals and an assist as the true freshman out of Dover, New Hampshire. Along with number 19, Carlos Barrera, on for the Owls as well. 6 minutes left here in this first half, as both subs are on here for Keene State. Comrie throwing it in, and he throws it right to Dennis Pachirski. They go right over the top of Barrera. I don't think that was the plan there. Barrera ultimately rising back up to the occasion, winning it back. Looking ahead for Mbungu. He's the point man on this offense. Chipped across. Wow, leaping up on the play is Spinola. Kasim Al-Ashkar gets back to it, but he can't control it in the box, so ultimately Guy Schultz going to have to get it out of trouble, and they do. Nicholas Henao Vasquez coming right onto the pitch and causing trouble for the Beacons defense, but they get out of it unscathed, and now a counterattack here. Kelly, light touch ahead to Jaheim Perez. Back to a Nielsen DePina. DePina stops, looks back to his left for Suvak. 2-man game here, as ultimately the Beacons will let their personnel push into the offensive zone. Guy Schultz ahead to Man Albahasi. Back over to Luis Spinola. Left-footed cross is cut out beautifully by Colin Lewis. He can't keep it in, but the Beacons had 3 men in the box in position to at least threaten the goal there. And instead, Lewis is able to chop that out of bounds. So now Spinola deep in the corner working against Lewis and Henao Vasquez. And it will be another throw-in for the Beaks. Trapped pretty deep in that corner. The throw does get out to Luan Cruz. He feels the pressure of Declan Coughlin, spins around him, and you like what Albahasi had planned there. Spinola wasn't ready for it. I think that was all in vain. It looked like the ball was already out over the far sideline. Little cheeky there out of the Beaks here. They're up 1-0. They're on the front foot of this contest. They really have been for the bulk of this second part of the first half. They've been deep into Keene State's territory. The ball has basically stayed on this side of midfield. You think the Beacons knocking on the door, albeit knocking on the door rather lightly. That will warrant a whistle here as Spinola gets drugged down rather awkwardly from the top, and he takes a hard fall onto his right knee. He adjusts the leg pad there. All looks to be well, and so this sets up a very timely free kick for the Beaks with about 3.5 minutes left to go. It's Diego Guy Schultz. He will step over it as 5 Beacons in the box here. DePina, along with Jaheim Perez, Dylan Kelly, to name others. That one spun in low. It's not cleared. It's on the foot of Albahasi, and it's blocked out of trouble by Brandon Comrie. The sophomore out of Deerfield, New Hampshire, I think was the only man between that ball and the goalkeeper, Pasito, and he gets it out of trouble. But here come Jaheim Perez and the Beacons back on the offensive attack again. He turns it over in the middle of the field, and then that's a frustration penalty by Perez against Damir Hamzic. You can see some players for Keene State maybe asking for the card. That's no-noed rather quickly by the referee in the middle of the field there. And so all it is ball put back in play, and it's Ali Alzawar on the back end looking ahead for Keene State. Heno Vasquez dribbles it right into the path of Spignola. Spignola wastes no time. A true clearance. Almost kicked that one out of the soccer stadium into the dorm behind the fence there along the sideline. Once again, a concerted effort to get the ball into Mbambi Mbungu, and once again, doesn't really lead to anything there as Spignola gets it out of trouble. But now, it's kicked right into the fray in the middle of the pitch, and in the middle of the action is Declan Coughlin, the big-body midfielder. It's still in the defensive zone for the Beaks. Gijolt can't clear it all the way. Hamzic coming in from the back line. Now he'll spin it back out to Comrie. The Owls trying to carry the sustained pressure. Great job by Paczurski, though, taking it off the foot of Barrera. And now Kelly with a nice touch to Jaheim Perez. The Beaks trying to just kind of bleed some clock here as Perez fighting for it. Great job there by the Owls' back line as two-man pressure from Kelly and Perez almost generated a look. We're nearing the final minute of the first half here. Comrie asking the Owls to slow it down. You got to think they want to have the final look on net in this first half. Great play there by Jaheim Perez, but he got a little handsy with it, and that's the second time Jaheim Perez and Damir Hamzic have had some contact with each other. And now some words here as Carlos Barrera talking to the referee. Christian Suvak said something to him. The referee coming over asking Suvak, hey, let me do the talking here. Cooler heads prevail. Now, I thought what the problem was the contact that kept happening between Perez and Hamzic. Instead, that wasn't the target of the ref's ire at all. It's going to be a foul against Barrera of Keene State, and we're in the final minute of this first half now. The Beacons trying to get one last look on net. So, pardon me, it's 1:40 left on the clock. Paczurski fakes the shot, puts it into Kelly. It gets behind him, and it gets all the way back out to the midfield circle. Suvak, ball on his right foot, skips it over to Jaheim Perez. Perez still dancing with it. Deep on the right corner, tries to cross it in, and he misses on the cross. It scatters wide, and Pasito will play it in. Looks like we'll have one more sub here in this first half. That's number 28, Blake Palmer, the sophomore out of Hanover. Or pardon me, that's not 28, that's 26. Pardon me, Dylan Chambers, freshman out of Claremont, New Hampshire, coming on for the Owls. So now that's the official announcement. We are in the final minute of this first half. Pasito directing traffic as Keene State. They want to minimize any chances for a counterattack here and draw up one last go on net. Heno Vasquez wins the header pretty easily back towards Spalding. Oh, but that's won in midfield by Luan Cruz and cleared out magnificently. And now Albahasi puts it ahead to Dylan Kelly.
26, Dylan Chambers,
who couldn't quite keep it on his foot, and we're going back with the Owls the other way. Alzawar to Heno Vasquez. Deep along the right sideline, tries to chip it ahead to Spalding. He can't control it.
10.
We got 10 seconds left here, and it looks like Spignola is more than content to pass it back to Gicholt and let this first half come to an end.
0.
Some nice ball handling there from Diego Gicholt as the horn sounds, and we find the end of this match's first half. The Beacons lead at halftime over the Keene State College Owls 1-0, thanks from a goal from Anilson de Pina in the game's 4th minute with the assist from Dennis Paczurski. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have halftime stats and some highlights from around Beaconville after this. Well, welcome back to the UMB Soccer Stadium. It is halftime here in this conference matchup. Your Beacons leading 1-0 over the Keene State College Owls. A lot of good soccer action this past week here across Beaconville. We have highlights from 4 games, 2 men's, 2 women's. Take a look at those, and when we come back, we will have halftime stats and the second half on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LEC TV.
soccer on the road taking on UMass Dartmouth. The Corsairs 0-5 this year at home. And Nielsen DePina looked to get the scoring start early in the first half, firing on goalkeeper Jack Waterhouse, who dives to his right to make the stop and keep the game tied at 0 apiece. And then Brian Rivas Martinez gonna get that turnover in the offensive zone and fire on Kasemel Ashkar, who makes the easy save on the right side of the goal mouth to keep the game scoreless. And then Ryan Lima is going to get a shot opportunity here from about the 30-yard line on the free kick opportunity. Lima fires in. Waterhouse makes the easy stop to keep it tied at 0. But then eventually the Beacons would break through as Josh D'Almeida would get his 5th goal of the season. The ball caroming in front after his initial shot goes into the corner, and then somebody's able to throw it in front. D'Almeida able to redirect it off of the goalie and in for his 5th of the season to give the Beacons an early 1-0 lead. Nick Berganca would have some scoring opportunities in the first half himself, firing this one from a little far out, and Waterhouse makes the easy save. And then Berganca a little while later going to work around some Corsairs defenders and work down the right side of the pitch, and Waterhouse again makes the save, keeping the game 1-0 after the first half. But then Josh D'Almeida, his 2nd goal of the game, 6th of the season. That's a career high for him, as Nick Berganca is going to throw this one in front after getting around some defenders, and D'Almeida is able to redirect it into the goal and make it 2-0 Beacons. But the Corsairs would look to strike back, as we see a yellow card is issued to Kasemel Ashkar here as he takes out the offensive player for the Corsairs in the box, and Cameron Aguiar would get the shot opportunity on the penalty kick, converts it, shooting to the left side of the net to cut the Beacons lead down to 2-1. But then Nick Berganca, after those shot opportunities in the first half, finally gets his moment here in the second half. Berganca, an unassisted goal as it rolls in, and the Beacon offense is able to avoid the Corsairs from getting to it, gives the Beacons a 3-1 lead. And then a short while later, a penalty kick for Nick Berganca after a foul inside the box, and Berganca would make it 2 goals in the game, his 4th of the season. Getting this one by Waterhouse makes it 4-1 Beacons in the second half, and they weren't done there. Dylan Kelly, as time is winding down in the second half, his 3rd goal of the season, getting around some defenders and putting it behind Waterhouse in the net, makes it 5-1. And to finish off the evening, Jaheim Perez, his 1st collegiate goal, gets down onto the right side with the ball. The Beacon offense finds Perez on the other side. Lima with the assist, and it's 6-1 Beacons. That would be the final score as your UMass Boston Beacons improve to 5-0 in the conference and remain tied atop the LEC with WestCon.
Yeah, hard to find a downside when you win a match 6-1. You had 2 goals from Josh D'Almeida. You had 2 goals from Nick Berganca. You had the first career goal of Jaheim Perez. And most importantly, in that game, you had the 5th straight LEC conference win to start the season for the Beaks. Now, back to this match here as we are about to close out halftime at the UMB Soccer Stadium. The Beacons leading the Keene State College Owls 1-0. And let's take a look at the halftime stats side by side. There isn't all that much to really report at this point here. Beacons 1 goal. The lone goal of the match was scored by Nielsen DePina in the 4th minute. That was his 3rd of the season, with the assist from Dennis Pachirski. Beacons, 5 shots in that first half compared to 3 out of Keene State College. The Beacons, the only team to find a shot on goal. They put 1 shot on goal. It was the 1 shot that hit the back of the net by DePina. So aside from that, no saves have been needed to be made from either goalie. The Beacons were able to generate 3 corner kicks, none from Keene State. Neither team gets carded, both teams committing 4 fouls. So pretty similarly matched up contest here. It was a very exciting first 5 minutes or so. It's even after that, even after that Nielsen DePina goal. Then the game did hit a bit of a lull in the middle of the first half. The second half of the first half, the Beacons, spurred on by the offensive additions of Dylan Kelly and Jaheim Perez, both came in as subs. That last 15 minutes of the first half was really all Beacons. They were pushing the tempo. They didn't generate a technical shot on net, but there were about 4 true run-of-play scoring opportunities to be had. So you have to think the Beacons like the way they're looking here against a strong conference opponent, but not maybe a top-tier conference opponent like you would have in next week's matchup against WestCon or maybe Eastern Connecticut State. This is a middle-of-the-pack LEC team who is playing a bit above its pay grade here with a 3-2 conference record and a 5-7-1 overall record, but they're very gamey, and they have a plucky team, senior team. There's more seniors, there's more upperclassmen on this Keene State team than you have in the entirety of the UMass Boston roster, and they're rallying around those seniors and putting a strong showing out there for their head coach, Matt Schmidt. We mentioned Matt Schmidt in his 5th year with Keene State. 4 of those spent from 2014 through 2017 as an assistant. This is his 1st year as the head coach. Jake Beverlin, on the other hand, in his 9th season. And with a win today, the career record will see twice as many wins as losses. So a nice statistical landmark in the offing here for the Beacons. And it looks like both teams making the pitch here, not quite ready to get action started. But let's reset the pitch here. The 11 Beacons on the field as we get the second half started. Nick Braganca, Josh D'Almeida, Ryan Lima, Luan Cruz, Dennis Pachersky, Christian Suvak, Elijah Elliott, Diego Gisholt, Nielsen DePina, and Man Albahasi. He is staying on. So, Man Albahasi, who came on in the first half, came on in the first half. He stays on. That's the 11. Albahasi now is back on the back line on defense. Pachersky coming up to play central defensive mid. And we are underway here in the second half. Beacons lead 1-0. They got out to a hot start. Beautifully executed goal-scoring opportunity by Nielsen DePina. It was set up by Dennis Pachersky. And it looks like Keene State will start the second half with ball in their offensive territory. Ryan Lima sticking his head in there and almost creating a rush for the Beaks. Instead, it's countered the other way, and here comes Vance Bates for Keene State. And Bambi Mbungu gets spin off in the left corner there. That looked to be Elijah Elliott applying the pressure, and the Beacons are able to turn away Mbungu and the Owls. It'll be a deep throw-in, but it'll be a throw-in going right to left for the Beacons. UMass Boston in their all-white home uniforms with blue numerals and a blue logo on the shorts. Script UMass Boston across the front of the jerseys. Keene State in their all-red road getup with white piping, white numerals, and white lettering. Beacons working right to left here on your computer screen. As Kieran Murray gets pressed back, we've had to call his name a lot in cleanup duty on defense for the Owls. He got the job done once again there. And here comes the big defender, Damir Hamzic. We've seen him push the tempo offensively. He gets through, but he can't get through Diego Gisholt. He'll have to chip the pass over to Dennis Fleming. That one was put through to Mbambi Mbungu, and it was onside. So that is a big play for Kasim Al-Ashkar to get to that one and cut it out of trouble. That was a great opportunity there for Keene State. They use number 9, Mbambi Mbungu, as their target man. Almost everything seems to go through him, and he almost got himself a scoring opportunity. And now Dennis Fleming, the senior out of Pearl River, New York, sticking around on that one. He drew some contact, asking for the card. No card, no foul, but it will be a free kick. That gets cut out once again. Josh D'Almeida and Ryan Lima playing great defense from the attacking positions here. Elliott slides to his back to cut that one out of trouble, but it advances the throw-in here for Vance Bates and Keene State College. This is Brandon Comrie lining up for the throw-in. He'll hand it off to Declan Coughlin. And now Coughlin throwing it in, looks to his left. He'll send it back towards the middle of the box. Hamzic's 6'4" frame was the first one to put a head on it, but it gets played back to Luan Cruz, who gets it ahead to Josh D'Almeida. Not the cleanest touch on the ball. It'll scurry across the sideline back towards the midfield circle, and so, for the time being, back out of trouble. A nice hold by the Beacons defense. Alzoar's pass over in the direction of Colin Lewis, who will stick around after coming on as a first-half sub. That one was lofted towards Coughlin. He can't get to it. Al-Ashkar runs onto it, puts it ahead to Luan Cruz, who gave it a little bit of a shoulder touch. That almost set up a 2-on-1. Instead, he can't run on to it. But Ryan Lima almost intercepting the ball in the face of Brandon Comrie. That would have been big, as the Beacons would have had a 3-on-3. It does scurry out across the left sideline, and so Josh D'Almeida playing true midfield to start this second half. He's back for the throw-in. Looks ahead to Ryan Lima. Chips it over. And wow, that was an incidental triangle, but it worked out for Christian Suvak. Two-man game now as they play it back towards Ryan Lima. A couple of Owls out of position. Instead, we'll go all the way across here to Mon Albahasi. Mon keeps it on his right foot. Chips it through. Luan Cruz back to Albahasi. They have the triangle set. It scurries to Pena out to the side. He fakes the throw over to DePina. Now crosses it into the middle. And oh, wow, D'Almeida was at a good spot. Kind of ran onto it a little too hard. And it will be a goal kick for Keene State. Albahasi and DePina both in striking position. Ultimately, the call there is an offsides against the Beaks, and that's the first time that a play has had to come to a stop from an offside. That's the first play that's been blown dead in live action. I think that's only the second time we've had the flag up. So this game has really been, I don't want to say bogged down, because there has been a nice crisp run of play throughout, but it has stayed central to the midfield here. And neither team going all that aggressive with any through balls or any attacking play. No one has left the opportunity to be countered yet in any stretch. Lima looking ahead to Cruz in the middle of the field. It's off his left hip a little. He runs onto it. Wow, beautiful play by Caleb Harmon. Very impressive sophomore who came on about 20 minutes into the first half, and he's not going to give up any time on this pitch, it looks like, anytime soon. He was able to win that one defensively and play it off the Beaks to generate a Keene State throw-in. You can probably hear it in my microphone. The wind's starting to pick up ever so slightly out here on the peninsula. We still don't have a cloud in the sky, but that might affect a ball kind of whirling its way into net. That one's lofted over the head of Colin Lewis. He gets to it in time and plays it back to Dennis Fleming. Fleming and Ali Alzawar almost feeling some Beacons trouble there. Lewis keeps it in bounds, and now he keeps a head up. Steps it over. But it's won by Luan Cruz, and now here come the Beaks with a 4-on-4 if DePina wants it. Instead, Nielsen with some dancing. Chips it through to Lima. Lima spins, and he just can't get around the final defender. It's cleared out of trouble by Kieran Murray, who I'm not sure if that's always his role, but he's playing the true back line sweeper spot. Number 12 has been there to close the door quite a bit. Kieran Murray and Diego Guichol playing similar roles for the Beaks. Here's Albahasi. Luan Cruz lets Albahasi run onto it. Mon, ball on his right foot. Stepping around Lewis. Steps over. Dances through. That one's kicked out of play. And I do believe that will be a throw-in. Beaks almost generated a tough angle corner. Instead, it's going to be a deep, deep throw for Luan Cruz. Cruz gets it back to a Nielsen DePina. That one curled in. That one almost troubles Pasito. Instead, he keeps it, catches it on the run and keeps this one moving forward. Vance Bates now dancing around Pacherski. Fleming will slow it down, but Keene State doing a nice job there to both get that ball out of trouble and kind of keep the momentum moving, keep that ball in transit for their offensive attack. Dennis Pacherski hits the deck with 3 Owls surrounding him, and whistle is going to go against him. I'm not sure if he touched that with a handball while he was down, but it'll be a free kick, and this second half still really trying to find its shape here. The Beacons pressured a couple of times, didn't have a look on net. The Owls had a opportunity really appear out of nowhere on a through ball into Mbungu that Al Ashkar was able to cut out at the last possible second. I don't know if that technically went down as a save for Kasim or not, and if not, crazy to think that neither goalie has needed to make a save yet. We're almost at 10 shots. But great defensive pressure applied by both teams as Braganca coming in with a head full of steam. That is a big frame on number 9, Nick Braganca, and he will see the yellow card. Ali Alzawar selling it a little bit. I mean, he took a hard shot from Nick Braganca. He gets up and has a couple of words with the referee. The ref letting him know, yes, I did book number 9 with the yellow. And so we will go back the other way as this game's first card is issued to the striker, number 9, Nick Braganca. So that card happens in the 53rd minute of action. I don't think that will lead to a sub of any sort for UMass Boston. Braganca has really been, almost a revelation. 9 games this season. He has 4 goals, including 2 in his most recent contest. The Beacons not out of the woods by any stretch in this contest, so you want to keep a threatening goal scorer on the pitch. Speaking of threatening goal scorers, Mbambe Mbungu certainly is one, but he gets cut out.
Yellow card to UMass Boston, number 9, Nick Braganca. Time of the card, 52 minutes, 49 seconds of the second half.
So there's the official announcement. Yellow card levied against Braganca. He'll have to play it safe here the remainder of this contest. Oh, the Beacons had something there, and DePina was a step too early as Lima had Braganca in a triangle ready to go. Instead, it hits the back heel of DePina. Ball still in a threatening position here for the Beaks. Braganca steps over, slides it to Luan Cruz. Cruz runs onto it. Cruz, left-footed cross. It's played out nicely by Alzawar. DePina keeps it in. De Almeida back to the net. Can't put a play on it, and it's cleared out by Damir Hamzic. Elijah Elliott running onto it from the back line here, trying to push it ahead. Suvak, though, wow, he really got handled there by Mbungu as he won 2 different ball handling steps around him. And ultimately, Keene State retaining possession here. 9.5 minutes into this into this second half. Beacon still leading 1-0. That goal came all the way back in the 4th minute from that man right there, Nielsen DePina. His touch, though, can't get away from Declan Coughlin. Coughlin has it deep in the corner. Some help defense coming in. And that stays in play. The Beacons are able to avoid the corner kick. Great job by Nielsen DePina to get that one all the way back to the center line and keep it out of trouble. Colin Lewis. Deep to his right. Flag stays down. Cross sent in and played out masterfully by Diego Gajold. Nick Braganca. No help, but with that large frame, and he's got very good ball handling skills, you think he's going to try and take on all these Owls by himself. And if Suvak could get there, the Beacons might have potentially had something. Instead, it'll just be a change of possession back around midfield. Braganca checks his shin pad there as Pechersky trying to pester in on the backside of the defense almost forces a turnover. Owls are able to stay calm with it, and here's Colin Lewis probing ahead. Sends that cross into Mbungu. That sets up a Coughlin rip. Wow, a beautifully directed chest pass from Mbungu onto the volley of Declan Coughlin. He misses it just about 5 feet wide, but that was a good-looking setup play there. Good-looking rip from Coughlin, the senior, who is actually an Italian native of Rome, Italy, playing in his senior year here at Keene State. Had a good look at that one. Misses it wide to the right.
Now in the match for the Owls, number 8, Nicholas Neo Vasquez.
Had a sub come in for Keene State, and it's number 8, the man on the ball right now, Nicholas Heno Vasquez. Heno Vasquez, 3 goals on the season. He's in his true freshman year, and he really applied the pressure in the 15 minutes that he was on the pitch in the first half. He came on about 30 minutes into the first half, so let's see if he applies the same pressure here on the offensive end for the Owls in half number 2. Brandon Comrie, he's had a busy afternoon here deep on that left wing. He handles that one, plays it back to the goaltender, Anthony Pasito. That one chipped ahead towards Vance Bates, the captain of Keene State College today. He gets around Christian Suvak and now pushes it forward to Henao Vasquez. Around Pechersky, but his touch gets put wide. Braganca with the interception. Over to Ryan Lima. Lima now slowing it down. You can see the Beacons, especially towards the end of that first half, really had the concerted effort of pressing the offensive attack. Not just turning it back, but at least trying to get a ball down towards the box or get a cross in. Here you can already see that we're into the second half. They trust their midfield play. I don't know if that's necessarily what Coach Beverlin has in mind, but it seems like the Beacons wouldn't be too upset at just parking the bus here and taking a 1-0 win if that's what is in the offering of this game here. Now, obviously, when you do park the bus, that sets up a nice opportunity for a counterattack, but it really does look like the Beacons are settling into that one as Nick Braganca has been the only man playing up, and Pechersky, one of the best defensive midfielders, they've even put him on the attacking end to apply some extra ball pressure there. That's some bad contact between Lima and number 5, Hamzic, and they both hit the deck hard. That looked like Lima's head hit the knee of Hamzic. You can see Hamzic is reaching to his left knee. Lima was going to the deck when Hamzic was making a play on the ball. So Clock's going to stop here as both of these players look like they might need to be tended to. Lima is getting his leg stretched out, but it looked like his head took a hard blow. Hamzic now is not doing well with that left knee, and so while this game takes a break and we have members of the training staffs from both teams coming onto the pitch, we will take a quick break as well. We're still in the middle of the action here, and we'll come back soon on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, brought to you by LEC TV. Beacon still leading the Keene State College Owls 1-0. Well, we can take a deep breath here as Damir Hamzic does make his way off the pitch under his own power. You can see very gingerly now. He tries to get a jog on and see if he can make his way back into the contest. But I have my eyes trained here. That looks to be Dylan Chambers, number 26, headed back in for Keene State. So Chambers comes on for Damir Hamzic. I believe Ryan Lima, he's good. So yeah, he's still on the field as Ryan Lima. He took Hamzic's knee directly to the head. So it looked like between the two, Ryan Lima's head, a little bit stronger than Damir Hamzic's knee. And nice to see Lima still on the pitch. Looks like Hamzic does not want to be on the sideline all too much longer. He has been an integral part of this Keene State defense. But we're back in play here at the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium. And Mon Albahasi doing a nice job there winning the header over Nicholas Henao Vasquez, who he loses about 6 inches to in the height advantage department. Great play there by Suvak to tip it back to Albahasi. Mon with the clear, and Ali Alzawar will send it all the way back toward Anthony Pasito. All the room in the world for Anthony Pasito to operate, and so he'll just coast it right back over to Alzawar. And here's Ali Alzawar with some room in front of it. Sophomore out of Manchester, was looking for Nicholas Henao Vasquez. It's won by Ryan Lima to Luan Cruz, but Cruz with a turnover? No. Applying some pressure there, Dennis Fleming. He couldn't keep the step through and turn it into an offensive possession. And yes, so as we mentioned, we didn't think that Damir Hamzic would be off the pitch for all that long. And also, we'll get another look at Luis Spignola making his way back onto the pitch for the Beaks. He'll come off for Nick Braganca, and Dylan Chambers, as quick as he comes onto the pitch. Oh, I sorry about that. I saw the wrong player. That is actually number 4, Vance Bates, coming off. So I was going to say as quickly as he came onto the pitch, but he will stay on as Hamzic is back on.
Back in the match for the Owls, number 5, Damir Hamzic. And in the match for the Beacons, number 17, Luis Spignola.
So Spignola almost generates the corner kick there for the Beaks. It's pushed out along the sideline right before the corner kick spot. The throw-in now leads to a clear attempt from Chambers. Pacherski giving chase. Dennis gets to it first, and he'll just chip it out into the Keene State bench. Solid job there by the Owls defense, shutting the doors on that cross attempt. And this game is turned into a real defensive match of wits. We're not quite at that chess match part of this match yet, but the ball has been really around the midfield circle for the entirety of this second half. But the Beacons force the midfield turnover, and here's DePina. He can generate some trouble from that, and that's going to be a card. That happened right in front of all of us. DePina is asking for it. That's going to be Dennis Fleming generating a card of some sort, and it is a yellow card. So the match's second yellow card, one against the Beaks, now one against the Owls. It will be the senior Dennis Fleming drawing the card. So we're in the 60th minute. Just 7 minutes after our first yellow, we have our second. Fleming draws the yellow, so that's 2 attackers. The forward, Dennis Fleming, has been issued a yellow. Nick Braganca also with a yellow against him, but he is currently off the pitch. DePina, a big opportunity there. Alzawar applies just enough pressure to keep DePina away from the ball, and Pasito was able to come out and make the save. That might be...
Issued a yellow card to Keene State College's number 10, Dennis Fleming. Time of the card, 60 minutes, 13 seconds of the second half.
I'm trying to see, that might be his first save of the afternoon. We'll see. That might have just still been on the cross. As it is, no saves have been made yet in this contest. If that is the case, Beacons with 6 shots, just 1 of them on goal, and it was a goal-scoring shot. Keene State up to 4 shots now, but still none on net. Dylan Chambers, he runs onto this ball about halfway between the end line and the midfield line here. Looks back towards his bench, directing traffic, steps into it, and lifts a pretty nice throw all the way into the middle of the box. Hamjic skies up, plays it to Henal Vasquez, but right into Diego Guichol, who gets it to Josh D'Almeida, and the Beaks get it out of trouble. Now D'Almeida ahead to Ryan Lima. He'll keep it for himself before pressing it over to Luis Spignola. Spignola stops on a dime. They give him some room here. He pushes it through to Paczerski. 3-man game now. Ryan Lima with Alzawar in front of him. Chops his feet, left-footed, and Alzawar, the two-handed shove there. Nice ball handling move there by Ryan Lima. Not going to generate a card. You could see Alzawar use his hands the way he did. It wasn't... there wasn't too much malice. I wouldn't call it malicious intent, just a hard-nosed defensive soccer. Does draw the foul now, so now both teams pushing double digits in the foul department. Big opportunity here for the Beaks. It's Diego Guichol lining up this long free kick opportunity from the side of the box. He puts an angled shot. It curves in and outside the near post. And that'll be another goal kick for Anthony Pasito. 28 minutes left in this contest. Beacon still leading thanks to the 4th-minute goal from Anilson DePina, his 3rd on the season. Yeah, an update on the foul numbers here. Not the cleanest match by any means. We had really no whistles blown in the first 20 minutes, but that has slowed down a considerable amount. 8 fouls committed by the Beaks, 7 committed by Keene State. Beautiful move there by Albahasi to keep that one in and ahead to Spignola. A lot of traffic right in front of us here. Coughlin sends it out to Gisholt. Ultimately, Paczerski keeps it and holds it at center field. Ryan Lima spinning. Kicks it back onto Mon Albahasi. Now Luan Cruz with some room inside to DePina. DePina tried to tow it in front to Ryan Lima. It skips over, but it doesn't skip out of trouble here. Suvak reverses course. Diego Guichol looks to his left, and here's Mon Albahasi at the left back spot. Right-footed toe blow over the defense. Spignola, he runs onto it around Alzawar. And there is the whistle. Wow, they're going to call the foul against Luis Spignola. His second foul, but the 9th foul committed by the Beacons in this contest. They are trending to be the first team in double digits. Ball is stolen by Luan Cruz. He looks ahead to Lima. Oh, beautiful play by Alzawar. The last line of defense, that was almost a 2-man game goal set up there between Luan Cruz and Ryan Lima. But the Beaks very much threatening here with the 11 they have on the pitch right now. Albahasi looks back to his right. He'll go all the way to Elijah Elliott in the right back spot. Josh D'Almeida has had a pretty quiet afternoon here. Not a bad one by any sense, but haven't seen him in his normal attacking spots on the field. Instead, playing very solid midfield soccer for the Beaks this afternoon. Wind really starting to pick up out here on the peninsula. I'm surprised that we've only lost 1 or 2 papers up here in our press box up to this point. You can hear it in the headsets. Once again, ball has been swirling around quite a bit. No true shots on goal except for the goal-scoring shot by Anilson DePina. So we've had a lot of near chances and just 1 true chance. Albahasi, back turn to Coughlin in the defense. Two players made contact on that, and both Albahasi and Luan Cruz are pleading their case to the referee, but this ball will stay with the Owls, and now Mbungu in a threatening position, but that one gets cut out nicely by Gisholt. Yet again, what else is new? Hamzic is back, looks no worse for the wear. Henao Vasquez wins it in the middle of the pitch and gets it over to Mbungu. Up ahead to Dylan Chambers. Chambers rushing in from the left back spot, and he keeps it in, keeps it alive. So here's Mbambi Mbungu. About 30 yards from the box, curls it across the top of the box, trying to run Lewis onto it. Great job by Albahasi there. That one will go out. It'll be a deep throw-in for the Beaks, not a goal kick, but a nice job as Keene State potentially had an odd man cross in. Colin Lewis trying to make his way to the ball from the defensive right back position. Ultimately, it gets cut out by Mon Albahasi. It'll be a very deep throw in here for, I believe, that's still Albahasi over the ball. He'll take some time here as the Beaks sub Nick Braganca back into the contest. Braganca, a freshman out of Beverly, Massachusetts. 25 minutes left to go here in this contest as Mbungu spins it. Fleming, open shot in the middle of the pitch. It's saved by Kasim Al-Ashkar, and wow, the rebound was right there for Henao Vasquez, and he couldn't get a shot onto it. Finally, Kasim Al-Ashkar gets tested. He answers the bell and gets a little bit lucky as Henao Vasquez had one on his right foot there. He couldn't get a shot on net, and this is the first corner kick of the afternoon for the Keene State Owls. It'll be number 10, Dennis Fleming, serving it in.
Owls corner kick taken by number 10, Dennis Fleming.
So let's see. Fleming surveys the scene. The senior out of Pearl River, New York, kicks it directly to Gisholt. He heads it out of trouble, but directly back towards Fleming, and Bungu in the way, and it's saved by Kasim Al-Ashkar with a lot of traffic in front, and Bungu, another header towards goal. He misses it over the top, and Kasim Al-Ashkar, he felt a lot of contact, making his second save of the afternoon, but what a clutch save it was. Junior really having a standout season. He has played all but 3 halves of soccer for the Beaks in net. Hadn't had to make a save all contest. 70 minutes in, he makes 2 gigantic saves with the dangerous strikers Nicholas Henao Vasquez and Mbambi Mbungu just bearing down on him in both of those shots. 2 huge saves, and the Beacons still holding that 1-goal lead with about 23 minutes left in this contest. Oh, beautiful dummy there, and Spignola to Braganca, and it's a 3-man game now. Braganca has Lima to his right, has Spignola behind him. Nichols spin it, head up for Braganca, laser shot, and it misses just to the left, about 2 feet wide to the left. Nice thought there for Braganca. You never know what rebound opportunity you could generate. DePina beat the goalie in a similar fashion from a similar spot on the pitch. That one misses just wide to the left. But the Beacons showing some great resolve after allowing those 2 very dangerous scoring opportunities in the 66th minute. The 66th and 67th minute, they get right back and they put one on Pasito on their own. And Braganca a few feet away from maybe making it a 2-0 match. Luan Cruz, nice job to win that header in. And now Lima and Braganca once again a 2-man game. It's on Braganca's toes. He sends it out to Pacherski. Dennis has it. He slows it down and gets it over to a Nielsen DePina on the right wing. DePina tries to chip it through. That one's cut out well by Keene State in the middle of the defense. Elijah Elliott running onto it, feeling some contact by Mbungu, and that ball is going to go to the Beacons. I think that's going to be a foul call against number 9, Mbambi Mbungu. So the referee directs traffic to it. We're back underway here as Pacherski picks up right where he left off, and Pacherski and DePina getting to work again. The dynamic duo, 2 mighty mice, if you will. They're both 5'7" on the program sheet. They combined in that 4th minute to generate the first goal, and it's awesome when you have players of their stature that are that quick and both that powerful on their feet. They can go stay low and generate some opportunities in crowded areas without too much space. We will see a substitution for Keene State here. Vance Bates making his way back onto the pitch. Now, a bit of insider information, but it looked like when Vance Bates came off 10 minutes ago that he ran off the pitch and to the bathrooms that we have to the left side of the pitch here. So that might have just been a glorified bathroom break for the skipper for Keene State College. Obviously, if we get any confirmation on that, we will report it back to you. But Vance Bates back on. Caleb Harmon applying some pressure there to a Nielsen DePina. And he dispossesses him. But once again, Luan Cruz, that's such an awesome asset to have in a player like Luan Cruz. How you just know the name of his game is to generate offensive chances, is to be a solid offensive midfielder. But whenever he gets tested in any sort of defensive capacity, he does exactly what is asked to him. He is one of, in the mold that Diego Guichol is as well, just a stalwart. I mean, just truly someone you feel confident in, a true presence on the pitch. And Luan Cruz is in just his freshman season, the 6'2" freshman. He just seems like he's getting better with every match. And him, Ryan Lima, and Nick Braganca have just been very exciting alternate attackers, if you will, next to the presence of Josh D'Almeida. This is Colin Lewis, and he made a nice play there to win possession from Spagnola and the Beaks, but then he loses control of it out of bounds. And quickly, Lima and the Beaks attempting to reapply some pressure with the ball in midfield. Suvac pestered by Mbungu. Back to Elijah Elliott. And Diego Guichol puts a stamp on that one right to Luan Cruz in the middle of the field. Albahasi looking up for Spagnola. Spagnola controls it nicely. Out in front of Colin Lewis. Spagnola gets around him. Oh, gets just stood up in his place. That is an immovable object in the form of Damir Hamzic, who wins that one away from Spagnola. About 7 inches taller than him. Spagnola, what do we have him listed here? Taking a look at the program. He's listed at 5'8". Hamzic is 6'4", so giving up 8 inches to him, and just a brilliant play. And that's a confident play for Hamzic, feeling that contact earlier. Really looked like he might have been dealing with a scary, scary knee injury. He was able to get up and walk off and only miss about 4 minutes of action, but he just stuck his leg in there to knife Spagnola off the ball, and couldn't have done it at a better time for Keene State. DePina, back deep along the right wing now, pestered on the play by Vance Bates, and Bates almost causes a turnover in a dangerous spot. Instead, he goes back down to the pitch. This is the player that just had to leave the pitch in the first half. And yeah, we can all see what that is. Max, you don't need to zoom in on that one. He took a soccer ball to a sensitive area and is just trying to run his way off here. Tough afternoon for Vance Bates, but he's showing some real resolve in the face of all that. The senior out of Chatham, Massachusetts. Spagnola will not be able to run onto that one. Just a bit too much put onto it from Luan Cruz. Really like where Luan's head was at there, trying to just spark an offensive opportunity out of nowhere. Even some more spectators filing into the hill here behind the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium, as this day could not be better for some Saturday afternoon soccer. Only way it could get better than it was right now is seeing that clock hit 0-0-0-0 with the Beacons still up. They're holding a 1-0 lead right now, about 17 minutes left to go in this match. A Nielsen DePina, the lone scorer in this match. He scored back in the 4th minute. Off an assist from Dennis Pacherski. Some contact in the middle of the field there as Albahasi had set up Luan Cruz. Cruz draws the whistle. And instead of opting for the free kick, the Beaks are going to go right back into action here. Pacherski to Suvac, up ahead to Nick Braganca. Braganca spins. He's got some room to operate. Keeps it on his right foot. Back towards Luan Cruz. Inside to Ryan Lima. Lima fakes the shot. Spins to his left. Left-footed shot! Knuckling in, and it's saved by Pasito. Finally, another save made in this contest, and it was Ryan Lima vying for his 4th goal of the season. He tests Anthony Pasito. Pasito comes through and makes the big save. DePina, though, chips that one free, and the Beaks right back on it again. Suvac to Luan Cruz. Luan over to Pacherski. Back they go to Christian Suvac and Diego Guichol. Oh, puts it ahead to Spagnola very nicely. Luis can't keep it on his foot, and Henao Vasquez, the recipient of the Chambers clear. Now they're trying to spring Mbungu, and it looks like he's going to have a step under this here, working around Diego Guichol. Puts it ahead on his right foot. Still operating in the front corner of the box. The double team applied. It's still on his left foot. Finally, Elijah Elliott right there where he needed to be and clears that one out of trouble. And now the one touch from Spinola ahead. Can Braganca get to it? He can, but ultimately it's played right back to Pasito. Oh, a little bit of trouble with it there over the turf monster. He ultimately keeps it out of any real danger. And back the other way we go. Resetting the pitch here for Keene State, it's Ali Alzawar, Kieran Murray, Colin Lewis, Damir Hamzic, Brandon Comrie, Caleb Harmon, Nicholas Henao Vasquez, Vance Bates, Mbambe Mbungu, and Dylan Chambers, the 10 outfield players. Anthony Pasito is still in net. And, of course, as we go through the 10 on the pitch for Keene State, we will see an Owl substitution. And I believe that's number 10, Dennis Fleming, making his way back onto the pitch after he was just issued a yellow card. So Fleming is on. Coming off is Caleb Harmon.
Match for Keene State, number 10, Dennis Fleming.
You got to think of your head coach, Matt Schmidt. You love the effort you saw out of Caleb Harmon. 25 very effective minutes in the first half. Another strong 20 here in the second half. And the sophomore out of Summers, Connecticut, really making a name for himself coming off the bench and generating some offensive attack for the Owls. Owls still trailing by one here. It's back on the foot of Colin Lewis. Coughlin coming back on as well, as it looks like Bates is off again. Luan Cruz tested there in the box. He kicks it up and out of trouble. Nick Braganca in the middle of the action there, and I thought he was the guilty party on that one, as there looked to be a little bit of a tabletop situation going on between him and Brandon Comrie. Comrie takes the spill, and Comrie will get charged with the foul. I think the Beacons started play smidge too soon there, so they will walk it back just outside the midfield circle, and Suvak calmly kicks it back into the direction of Diego Gisholt. About 13 minutes left in this contest. Beacons holding on to a 1-0 lead. 9 shots apiece now. 2 on goal for each team. 1 save made by Anthony Pasito. 2 made by Kasim Al-Ashkar. The Owls with 2 dangerous scoring opportunities in the 66th minute. Braganca keeps it on his foot. He almost was able to put one on net. It's cut out by Declan Coughlin. Haven't seen much from Declan on the offensive end until right now, but he has been a solid presence defensively from the midfield spot. And Mbungu running deep into the left corner there. Elliott kicks it out. Wow, and I thought that was a corner kick set up there for Keene State, but instead Mbungu, he just ran that one out, and so it will be a goal kick for Kasim Al-Ashkar. We'll stop the clock here, as I think Diego Gisholt might be. It looks like a Keene State sub made his way on Carlos Barrera. Referee holding up play for Barrera to make his way back on. And now we are back underway here at UMass Boston Soccer Stadium. Al-Ashkar just kicks it in, and Pechersky's going to take it up the right sideline. DePina, wow, getting around 3 Owls before getting it taken away at around midfield by Comrie. Comrie back towards Henao Vasquez, and somehow they work a 2-man game to keep that one away from any nearby beacon. Alzawar to Chambers. Chambers back looking for Henao Vasquez. That one gets tipped out by the Beacons, and so a dangerous throw in here for Keene State as we were approaching the final 10 minutes of this match. Chambers still back on the throw-in. He opens the gate behind him just to get a little more room for himself. Throws it in towards Hamzic. It's over the head of Hamzic. Played out of trouble by Gisholt. Fleming hustling in, though, to keep it alive. Chambers is going to toe poke it towards the box. Al-Ashkar reaching up and calmly hauling that one in. He's slowing down traffic here for the Beaks, as UMass Boston has played 75 minutes of great defensive soccer. They took that lead with a 4-minute mark, and they haven't stopped attempting to press the ball forward, but at every chance that Keene State has generated, every real necessary moment to batten down the hatches, and keep Keene State out of a true scoring position. The Beacons have done that, and then the 2 times they weren't able to do that, Kasim Al-Ashkar comes up huge twice, less than a minute apart from each other. This is a man who didn't need to make a save through the first 66 minutes of the match. He made 2 in a row in the 66th and 67th minute, and that's how the Beacons have held this 1-0 lead. Pechersky and DePina, that was the combination that hooked up back in the first half for this game's lone goal. They are more than happy to send it back to Diego Gijolt and let the sophomore take it up himself. Luan Cruz to Mon Albahasi. Cruz telling them to run the play quick. Spinola gets it. That ball stays in. Albahasi trying to keep it onside. And Spinola ultimately does run it off sides. And it will go back to Keene State. So it looks like Barrera wants to run right onto this one. It will have to be a throw-in. Tries to loft it over the head of Luan Cruz, and he lofts it over everybody directly back to Albahasi. Lima, the intended target there from Cruz. Wow, it finds Ryan Lima rather nicely. Spinola, though, gets cut out on the play by Barrera. And no real secondary pressure on the offensive end from Keene State as Mbungu rushing in to make a play on that one. Nobody behind him to help him out. Gisholt over to Lima, and how about this? Beacons with a 4-on-4. Lima ahead to Spinola. Spinola out in front of the defense. Spinola left-footed cross. Lima in the box. Lima steps, and he stepped over, and he couldn't get a shot. Well, he chips ahead, still in front of Pasito, and Pasito comes up huge and makes the save. Just a hair too much dancing and dribbling with it from Ryan Lima, but that second effort still generates a chance, and it's the second save of the afternoon, the 10th shot. The third on goal for the Beacons. They're the first team into double digits in the shot department. Nice time to apply the pressure there for a would-be second goal. And that throw-in from Albahasi gets kicked out by Ali Alzawar. And now it will be a corner kick incoming for the Beaks.
Beacons corner kick taken by number 18, Mon Albahasi.
So it's Albahasi addressing the ball. Deep on the left-sided corner. Looks to approach it with a right-footed kick. Luan Cruz right in front of the net. Line drive cross. It's going to be cut out nicely by Hamzic. Suvak wins it. Hamzic fades over with Albahasi. That'll give Suvak some room to send it in. And oh, if DePina was an inch higher, he would have had an opportunity for a header. Instead, it's Declan Coughlin hustling it back the other way for Keene State. Coughlin to Fleming. The Owls have something here. They go over to Mbungu. Can he run onto it? He does. Let's see what Mbambe Mbungu decides to do. Right-footed run. Ball on his right foot, and a beautiful play by Nick Braganca, clearing that one out of trouble. This one will get lofted directly to Kasim Al-Ashkar. He slides in, covers it up nicely, and we'll take that as a nice opportunity to catch his breath and run some more time off the clock. Seven minutes left in this contest as Kasim Al-Ashkar finally comes back up with the ball, sends it deep to the middle of the Owls defense, and Hamzic can't come down with it, so now Braganca directing some traffic there, attempting to box out Damir Hamzic, and now Hamzic kicks the ball away from DePina. He's going to get a card, as that happened right in front of the ref. He was yelling at the ref. He's not. I swore he was going to get a card because he kicked the ball away from Nielsen DePina. And the referee made that X motion with his hands. He decides not to stop the clock and issue the card. Can't see why not, but the Beacon's still with it in an attacking spot. It's knocked out by Declan Coughlin, and it will be a throw-in for the Beaks after this substitution. We haven't seen all that much Josh D. Almeida. He makes his way back on for the Beaks. 3 Owls coming on. It looks to be Colin Lewis, Vance Bates, and Caleb Harmon. So, slew of substitutes in and out for Keene State today, and that continues as 3 new Owls come on. Josh D. Almeida coming back on for Nick Braganca, who gave some great hustle minutes here in the back end of this second half for the Beaks. Pechersky turns it over, though, and Fleming lofts it ahead to Vance Bates, who runs onto it down the left sideline, but a great heads-up play there by Elijah Elliott to bat that one out of trouble and send it back towards the midfield line.
Number 23, Colin Lewis. and number 24, Caleb Harmon. And in the match for the Beacons, number 23, Josh D'Almeida.
So there's that substitution announcement one more time. D'Almeida back on for the Beaks. It's Lewis, Harmon, and Bates, all with offensive potential, all back onto the pitch for the Owls. Not the best time to need to tie your shoes here. It's not like there's any stoppage time on the clock here. And Dennis Fleming, well, milking it, if you will. He wants all of the Owls to be in the right spot, directing traffic one more time. We'll see. Gets under it now, lofts this one up well over the head of Kasim Al-Ashkar, and out of play. We'll get another substitution here. Declan Coughlin coming back on for Keene State, who really just seemed to be going offense for defense at every switch of play. So Coughlin is on. Coming off is Barrera. And Al-Ashkar directing traffic back on his...
number 11, Declan Coughlin.
Back in his own 12-yard box. That one, not the cleanest hit from Al-Ashkar. It's played by Al-Bahasi, but now Harmon with some space directs it over to Dennis Fleming. Fleming back down low to Lewis, and here come Keene State developing an attack here. Lewis inside, and Caleb Harmon just can't run onto it. It will be a goal kick for the Beaks, who get that one out of trouble. .3:55 on the clock. This game is in its final 4 minutes now, as Al-Bahasi looks to get it ahead to Spignola. Oh, that's still in. Looked like that ball was still in along the near sideline. A great play by Mon Al-Bahasi. It's just ruled out, and that leads to be a Keene State throw-in. That could have been a real opportunity for the Beaks. Alzawar loses it to Lima, and now Luis Spignola will cede to Mon Al-Bahasi. The Beacons now, the name of the game is more asking for a smart play in than it really is trying to score a goal here. You don't want to do anything that will lead to a counterattack against you with 3 minutes left in the contest. Spignola in to Lima, dancing in the box to DePina, back inside to the box to Lima. Lima dancing, can't get around Alzawar, but he gets back to it before Murphy can keep it out, and now inside, and oh wow, that was a Spignola shot attempt. I think that might have been a cross towards D'Almeida, but it came off his foot a little too hard there. Great work by Spignola, though, just completely undressing the defender Kieran Murphy and getting back around it. Time running out here on Keene State's bid for their 6th win of the season. Beaks need to hold on to this lead for just about 2.5 more minutes, and they move to 9-3-2 on the season. Got to hold your mark here, and that's a turnover from Colin Lewis. DePina, though, feels some contact to his ankle. He can't keep the possession alive, so great second effort from Colin Lewis. And now into the box they go. Coughlin gets the turnover, still dribbling through, but Pechersky takes it out of trouble, ahead to a Nielsen DePina, and here come the Beacons on a counter. Coughlin laying it on the line to keep the attack going, and Spignola over the top to Ryan Lima, running onto it. Lima, ball's still alive. D'Almeida puts a boot to it, and a little too much on that one. That was a tantalizing opportunity for both Lima and D'Almeida. I think the right decision was made by Ryan Lima to let Josh D'Almeida run onto the shot, but he just gets a little too much into it and hits it high and wide. 11 shots now for the Beaks. 7 second-half shots to counter just 4 in the first half. We've seen a bit more offense here in this second half. In the final minute and a half of this contest now, Beacons leading 1-0, wanting to close this one out, vying for their 6th conference win of the season. Great job there by Al-Bahasi as Elliott had his hands full with Mbungu. Al-Bahasi runs over. Here comes D'Almeida. D'Almeida can take his time with this one. As he's at the corner of the box, he'll spin it back out now, and it looks to be Comrie down with an injury for Keene State. He's taking a long time to get back up. D'Almeida sits it on the goal line. Oh, wow, and what happened there at the corner as D'Almeida posing over the top of Dennis Fleming. Fleming just tackling D'Almeida after he goes over the top of him. And you can see some bad blood towards the end of a closely contested conference matchup, but you know, I'm sure Dennis Fleming has really been giving it his all for Keene State this afternoon. He's been not afraid to stick his nose in anywhere. But I'm not sure how he can really be told anything for that. That seemed to be started and executed by him, and Josh D. Almeida, who also definitely retaliated and posed and postured in front of the referees now. He is going to get a quick talking to, too. Looks like cooler heads have prevailed, and I'm not sure if it was a corner kick awarded on the play or not. That looks like where the ball is, so ultimately, I do think the Beacons will generate their 5th corner of the afternoon here, but potentially scary moment out there as you don't want to lose a player to a suspension or really have a fight or anything like what might have developed in that corner happen the way it did. Luckily, cooler heads prevailed. You got to hand it to head coach Matt Schmidt. He was on it on his sideline the second that started to develop. And I'm not sure now. They will issue a yellow card to Josh D. Almeida. And I believe he's not the only player to see a yellow card for this, but officially there is a yellow shown to Josh D. Almeida in the 88th minute of this contest. So now 2 Beacons with yellows.
1 minute remaining in the second half. 1 minute.
Fleming, the other player involved in that.
A yellow card to UMass Boston's number 23, Josh D. Almeida. Time of the card, 88 minutes, 58 seconds of the second half.
We are in the final minute of play here in the second half. Kieran Murray runs onto it. He'll launch a throw in. Luan Cruz can't make a play on it. Albahasi does, and Albahasi will be called for a pushing foul on the backside of the play. Keene State still with time here. 37 seconds on a running clock. And it looks like Dennis Fleming, who's very lucky that he didn't get a card for that altercation in the corner, as he has already been hit with a yellow in this match. Clock is stopped. And let's see what the timing issue is here. Spignola, they're asking for him to have some room.
So 36. Where we at?
And so let's see. This will be a really crucial moment. We will have just north of 30 seconds left when we're back into play. Dennis Fleming addressing the ball right now. Large crew of players right on the left side of the top of the box. Fleming, he's going to run into it here. Right-footed boot, puts it on a line directly at All Ashkar, and he is tested by Hamzic, and All Ashkar wins the battle. He will hold it, go down to a knee, and that should be all the time the Beacons need to let this one run out. There was one final opportunity and a huge clutch 3rd save of the match for Kasim Al Ashkar. He'll put the boot into it.
7,
Vance Bates and Josh D. Almeida settling underneath it. D. Almeida dancing
2, 1.
and dribbling out the clock, and the Beacons move to 9-3-2 on the season, and even more importantly, a perfect 6-0 in the Little East Conference. Your final score from the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium this afternoon: the UMass Boston Beacons 1, the Keene State College Owls 0. One more time with the win, the Beacons 9-3-2 and 6-0 in the LEC. Keene State now 5-8-1, and they are at 500 in LEC play. Their record sitting at 3-3. We're going to take one quick break, and when we come back, we will have the game's final stats after this on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, powered by LEC TV. And we'll join you back here at the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium. We are final. The Beacons win this conference matchup over the Keene State College Owls 1-0. You take a look at the final stats there. The Beacons, the only team to reach double digits in the shot department. They get up to 11 shots this afternoon, next to 8 for Keene State. 3 shots on goal for the Beacons, 3 saves made by Kasim Al-Ashkar. 2 shots on goal for the Owls and 2 saves made by Kasim Al-Ashkar. 3 shots on goal for the Beacons. Pasito with just 2 saves. Both teams do find double digits in the foul column. 10 fouls committed by the Owls, 11 for the Beaks, and there were cards issued in this contest. 2 against the Beaks. Nick Braganca felt a yellow card in the 53rd minute. Josh D. Almeida all the way back in this 88th minute, and it was Dennis Fleming receiving a yellow card for Keene State in the game's 60th minute. The lone goal of the afternoon scored by a Nielsen DePina, his 3rd of the season from Dennis Pacherski, and he did that all the way back in the game's 4th minute. And so that will do it for us here at the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium. The Beacons, perfect in the LEC 6-0. They are 9-3-2 on the season, and they have the Battle of the Titans coming up next, a road contest at equally conference tied 6-0 in the LEC. WestCon. That'll do it for us this afternoon at the UMass Boston Soccer Stadium. For my producer, Maddie Casford, my director, Michael Vesci, and our camera operator, Max Clifford, I am Chris Del Sordo. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. This was UMass Boston Beacon Soccer on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, powered by LEC TV. Everyone watching, have a great rest of your afternoon, and roll Beaks.